Hi you guys, it's Vivian, the Somm next door. Today we are gonna be covering Burgundy, Burgundy France, that region. I'm gonna do a quick overview, and then what I really want to do is kind of talk about how to find bargain Burgundies, which is really an oxymoron. Technically that doesn't really exist, but I think there are some Burgundies that you can get for much cheaper, and I want to discuss those. It's like a fun little story. I remember when I was learning for my sommelier test, one of the first chapters is either Bordeaux or Burgundy. For me, it was Burgundy. And honestly, it is so daunting. I almost feel like they put the hardest in front of you, like just to scare you off. So if you get over that hump, then everything else seems so easy in comparison. New World wines, the rules, the laws, the history, it's just like not as complex. These are my Burgundy notes from back in the day. This was all Burgundy. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Comment down below if you guys want a more in-depth Burgundy lesson. Right from the get-go, you guys should know that the two main grapes in Burgundy is Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. There are some exceptions. There's, Alicote, Bouzeron makes that. Beaujolais is technically part of Burgundy, but just forget it. It's like it just acts like it's its own thing. So Burgundy, you gotta just know Pinot, Chard, Pinot, Chard. So in Burgundy, there are different designations of quality levels. So starting from the very bottom, there are regional wines, and that's just called Burgundy Reds, Burgundy Whites, so Bourgogne Rouge, Bourgogne Blanc. Then there are village wines. There's Premier Cru, which means first growth, and then Grand Cru, which is great growth. So that is your stratification for quote unquote value, aka it's just that's the stratification for how much you're gonna pay. So for Grand Crus, there's 33 Grand Crus in Burgundy, and there's just a couple that you guys just need to know. Like Romanée Conti, expensive. Anything with Chambertin in it, Musigny, you guys just need to know these are expensive wines. Why are these so expensive wines? Well, Burgundy is very small. In comparison to Bordeaux, it produces like 1/5 of the amount of wine that they do. A lot of the times in Burgundy, there will be a lot of owners that own these small parcels, and they will sell them to a negociant, and the negociant will make the wines because the vineyard owners don't have enough to make enough wine. You've heard of terroir. I've kind of talked about that, but terroir is when a wine exhibits quality of the land. And in Burgundy, it is so true that one row of grapes will taste very different from another row of grapes. So they determined way long ago, these are where the best grapes are grown. Another factor that's kind of interesting is that every year, the weather is very different. And especially for Pinot Noir, which is a very hard, fickle grape to grow, it will be impacted by hail, how much water it gets. So those are all factors. Do you see me? I'm getting so excited talking about Burgundy. Anyway, all y'all need to know is, okay, so I will show a map of Burgundy. And you guys need to know, so Chablis is all white. They produce really great Chardonnays. And because of the limestone there, it's very minerality, acidic, it's beautiful. They don't typically use too much oak. It's bomb. Chablis is bomb. And underneath that is Côte d'Or, which includes Côte de Nuit and Côte de Beaune. That is where it gets expensive. Even regular quality wines, regional wines, are gonna be $20, $30. Premier Cru, it's gonna be around $50, $40, $50. And then Grand Cru, if you're not paying $100 at least, that's a steal. Then there's two other areas. There's Côte Chalonnais and Macon-Lugny. And what I'm gonna get at is those are the areas where you can find very good bargains. let's talk about Côte Chardonnay. So that's the one right underneath Côte de Beaune. And that is where you can find very good bargain Pinots. There's villages in Côte Chardonnay, Givry, Mercure. Those villages can produce pretty good, decent Pinot Noirs, just depending on the producer. Antonin Rodet, I'll put that information over here. He's a good producer and you can find some good Pinot Noirs from there. And then in Macon-Lugny, you can find some good Chardonnays for 17, less than 20 bucks. So that's what I'm drinking right now. This is a Macon-Lugny. So there's Macon villages, and then the higher step up is like Macon, and then they'll name the village. So this one is Macon-Lugny. So that's a step up. There's Pouilly-Fouissy, which is very good. But if you, and those go for like, you know, mid 20s, 30s. Let's talk about the flavor profiles of Burgundy. The whites, they are known for malolactic fermentation. Please don't run away. Just call it mallow. It's basically when the acid turns a little bit more buttery. So it's a little bit more creamier, and it has light oak. So you get a little bit of those baking spices, which is very nice. There is a lot of lees contact, which is yeast cells. So it's very round and rich, and it's just like a nice wintry fall wine. What to pair with a white Burgundy? Any cream pasta. You can do chicken. Any chicken dishes with a light sauce. Just like think what would go well with butter, and that's what will go well with a white Burgundy. Let's move on to the reds, my friends. This one that I'm drinking right now, it is Louis Chenu. So this is Côte de Beaune, and it's a Premier Cru. I got this for $45. I had it with some bone marrow. Oh my God, you guys. It was so good. It was so good. This is giving me like strawberry, rhubarb, like red cherries. So when going for Pinot Noirs and you're buying a bottle from a store, I recommend you do some research. It is not always the case that Grand Cru is better than Premier Cru, which is better than Village Wines, that's better than regional wines. You know, it really depends on producers. When you're at the store, look up the producer, look up the vintage. Honestly, vintage is probably a little bit easier. You can literally go online. I'll show you what I look up. There's like, I think it's a wine enthusiast vintage chart that I go through. And it kind of just gives me a lay of the land. I do both. I do that, and then I look up Janice Robinson's vintage record, and she kind of tells me like this was a little bit more rainy or whatever. Or if it's cooler, it's like less alcohol. You can probably drink it younger. If it's high alcohol, it probably needs a little bit more time. And so that's another thing I want to get at. So Burgundy, unlike Bordeaux, they're more forgiving if you drink it younger, whereas Bordeaux, there's some that just like, I'm sorry, it's not good. It's not good until you wait. I just wanted to share with you what I do to even be able to try some Burgundies, may it be village Burgundies, regional Burgundies, Premier Cru Burgundies. If I do drink Grand Cru Burgundies, it is by the glass because, you know, I don't have that bank account yet. Working on it. But yeah, Burgundies are a beautiful wine. I think everyone just needs to know about Burgundies just so they are well equipped. Just being familiar with it just puts you in a league of your own. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Hit that like button, please, and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what else you guys want to watch. If you guys want me to rewind and be like, can you go back to like basic stuff? Please let me know. Or if you're like, no girl, I want you to go deep. Cheers. I hope you guys have an empty glass like I do. And happy drinking, everybody. Bye.